Well, it is football time in college football, and we're back with another episode of It's Football Time In, presented to y'all by Southern DNA, our sponsors for the for the episode today. We got a YouTube channel, Southern DNA. Go check them out. I am on that channel. One half of my brother is on the other side, but we're going to be talking about today the upcoming games. So we had the last video was about the new poll that came out, and this video or episode, I guess you could say, video if you're watching on YouTube, and episode if you're listening to any. Basically, you go to any of the major podcast places that you listen to podcasts, and we are listed on every single one of them. Maybe not Google, waiting for that to come back in, but Google is the one that's the last held out for us, the one that's taken the longest. But we're on Apple, Spotify, iHeart Radio. We're on all the big ones that you can think of to find your podcast. We're on there. Just go in there, type in "It's Football Time in dot," and we should pop up. You'll see our little logo there. But if you're listening to us there, probably got a little bit better sound quality than YouTube does because that's what they're known for. So go over there and check us out. But this week, I am joined again with Jaden and Cody,
What's up? What's up?
How we doing?
and we're going to be talking about the upcoming games of this week and see what we think is going to play out.
Week two.
So
Mm.
last week was there were some surprises, and do you think there's going to be any surprises this week?
Oh man, just looking at, and of course, again, this is just only top 25 games. This is not every game in the country, but I don't know. There might be, man. It's hard to tell. Like Ole Miss and Tulane. I'm looking at that game. I'm looking at Ole Miss and Tulane, on also Alabama and what Texas. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
yeah.
those games next week.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
I think
Texas will be a
everybody's
big
looking
one.
at that game. That game is probably the one what they're calling the biggest game of the season, which just throws me
Ooh.
off. Yeah, they're saying it's going to be the best game of the season. Which it's
Maybe so far.
well,
You
yeah,
know,
but
maybe so
Possibly, yeah.
far, but not the biggest game in the season.
in fact, actually,
I mean, we're only into week 2, you
oh
know.
yeah, but I was actually talking to Cody before we got on here, before Jaden got onto the chat, was that ESPN has this predictor that you can go on there and look, and it's on there. It talks about the Texas and Alabama game, and it supposedly being the biggest one that's supposed to could change the course for all playoff perspectives for every
Wow.
team. It is crazy. So it's that they're calling it the biggest game of the season. I think
And
it's
and it
could be.
it might be wild,
Yeah.
I
It might
think
be
it is.
wild.
It's different, especially since Texas is just trying to join the SEC. So, I mean, depending on the outcome of this game, Alabama could be losing a spot in the playoffs. Texas could be obviously joining the SEC, improving themselves to join the SEC, possibly even attempting to get a playoff position. It's going to be a very interesting game to watch.
Oh, I think so also. So let's go ahead and start talking about some of these games. Some of these games are going to be just snooze fest. We know that the outcomes are going to be pretty
Yeah, we
easy to
probably won't
tell. So we're not
talk
going to
much
dwell on
about a
those.
lot of them,
Yeah, we're not going to dwell on
but
those
we will give
games.
you a sort of consensus of what we think, I guess. But
Yeah,
not we won't go super in depth like
I think we should
others.
do it kind of like I think it's ESPN does it, where we can all three of us pick who we think the team's going to be that wins, and
Yeah,
we'll go from there. So let's start off
we're
the.
gonna start from 25.
Let's just go the well. We won't go from like number 25. We'll just start at the earliest game. The earliest game in the top
Okay.
25 is going to be the Georgia Ball State. So that's at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Um, Georgia's already predicted to win by like 42 points. That's a snooze fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say. I mean, yeah, Georgia. Uh, they're gonna take the cake and eat
Yeah.
it too. So I mean, it's
But
like
we did talk about this. Georgia was showing some weakness at that last game they had. I don't think Ball State's going to exploit that defense or that offensive weakness that they had. I don't know if they have that great of a defense. I don't think they got a good enough defense to come out there and to exploit anything. So, yeah, I think Georgia's going to Going to have that all day
I
long.
mean, yeah, it's a cakewalk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, they've lost substantial players. Stetson Bennett. I mean, Stetson Bennett was a very, very good player on the Georgia team, and I mean, not to say that Carson Beck isn't fulfilling that position, but he has got a lot of work to do to prove himself as a Georgia worthy quarterback.
I mean, let's not dwell on this one that long. They're already predicting 42 points to Georgia. Let's just go ahead and pick who we think's going to win this game.
Georgia is
Yeah, Georgia. Cody,
Yeah,
Are you go-
I agree. Yeah,
are you not going to underdog on that one?
I agree.
no, Ball State
Well, I
may
mean,
pull it out, man. You know,
Yeah.
Cody's going to just pick the
If-
underdog for every game.
Oh, I'll tell you. After watching the Duke and Duke and what
Clemson.
was it? The Clemson game. Yeah, watching the Duke and Clemson game. It's possible that we could see some
major
underdogs
upset, yeah.
in this season. Yeah, we could see some underdogs reaching the top.
And that one's actually going to be on the SEC Network. So if y'all want to watch that game, if you're Georgia fans, that's SEC Network at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. That will be broadcasted on that. Same time, the next game we'll talk about is Ohio State and Youngstown State. I didn't even know there was a Youngstown State.
It's kind of weird to say. Youngstown State.
Youngstown.
weird.
That's a weird name. Youngstown State.
I
And
have
that's-
really nothing to say about this game, to be honest.
They don't.
Yeah,
even,
I don't.
I gotta look on this thing. Ohio State's predicted to win by 99%. Like,
Dang, they got 1% Youngstown State.
Obviously a blowover game.
Okay, let's just be
know.
honest that there's no way that it's only 99. Like, it's 100, dude.
Well, they did give them a 1% chance, Youngstown, to upset them. So, I mean, that was nice.
Generous.
Yeah. Hey, they are 1-0 right
Generous.
now. They're 1-0. So, anything could happen.
You know, honestly, the way Ohio State played against, who was it? Who they played last week?
Yeah, Ohio
I
played
believe
Indiana.
It was
Indiana. That's
yeah,
what it
yeah.
was.
They
Yeah,
only
I
put
mean,
23 points on Indiana.
Now, Indiana
so-
is obviously better than this Youngstown State. Sorry, Youngstown State fans, but I mean,
Are there Youngstown State fans?
I have no
I never
clue.
even heard of this team.
You
They're
know,
an
I'm sure
industry
people from
plant.
Youngstown definitely.
Oh, I'm sure.
definitely are fans.
The 4 people from Youngstown.
But yeah, hey man, Youngstown may do it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, Ohio State's winning. But
Yeah,
know.
I'm gonna say Ohio State on this one.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Cody's still wanting to pick the underdog. He's still like debating. He's like, I'm going to
I don't
probably
know
pick an
anymore.
underdog.
I don't know
so.
anymore.
All right,
It's
so
difficult.
that's on the BTN network. So if you've got the BTN network, you can watch it there. That's at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Another game at the same time on the Peacock channel or Peacock Network, I guess. Which is weird that they're starting to do games, or I think they started doing them last year, but it would be Penn State versus Delaware. Number 7, Penn State versus Delaware.
I mean,
It's another game that's 98.9% to 1.1%. So
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
another
so
one.
This is definitely one of these games, one of these weeks that you'll see a lot of blowover games.
yeah.
like
Let's
this.
just not act like week 1 and 2 are not just like, eh. It's like getting your feet wet, I guess. Before you.
I mean,
jump
for
in the
some,
pool.
for some,
Oh yeah, for
for
some.
some.
Some people open up like Clemson and Duke straight up out of the bat, or whatever the case
FSU
may
and
be.
LSU.
Florida and Utah right off the bat. Yeah, FSU and LSU right out of the gate. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this game's
it's
going
Penn
to.
Colorado and
Come on, guys. Yeah,
It-
Colorado and TCU.
Penn State's not had.
TCU,
I mean,
yeah.
Penn State's had a good program the past few years. They put 38 points against West Virginia. I don't think they're going to have a problem with Delaware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State's just gonna.
For me, Penn State all the
It's
way.
a cakewalk. Yep.
Yeah. I agree.
Nothing much, to be honest.
All
I know
right.
that's gonna be a recurring theme, but whatever.
Here's another one, and this one I think could be a little bit better of a matchup. This one could be interesting. We got the same time, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on ABC. That's where they'll be broadcasting this one. Notre Dame versus North Carolina State. Now,
Oh man.
Notre Dame's only predicted to win by 7.5 points. So I think this
is
could
gonna
be a close game.
close.
No,
game,
I
yeah.
agree. Actually, I agree that this could be a pretty fair game. Actually, I'm gonna say pretty fair. Is Notre Dame like gonna waltz in and totally lambast NC State? I don't know. They could, but I don't think so.
Well, NC State put
Yeah, a
24
touchdown
points
or
on
two.
UConn last week. So
Yeah, I could see Notre Dame winning by a touchdown or two, but hey, yeah, Notre Dame I think takes it.
It's I
they're giving them a 78% chance that Notre Dame's going to win this game. So it's not as certain. It's pretty certain, but not as certain as the last couple of games we talked about.
Yeah.
This could be a game.
I think I would go for Notre Dame.
This, well, I would
I
too,
think
but
Notre
this
Dame
game
is-
could be a game we may see an upset.
That
It's possible,
very much well.
but I mean, you've got to think, NC State isn't exactly they're not exactly they haven't been ranked in a while. They haven't really been putting up a lot of numbers. Of course, they have the ability to, but it's just difficult to tell.
Well, Armstrong, their quarterback, Brennan Armstrong, went 17 for 26 with 155 yards last week. So, I mean, that's decent numbers. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. I mean, he also did. He had the most rushing yards also for his team, with 19 carries and 96 yards with 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, it
sounds like they put a lot on his back, though.
Yes, I mean,
At the
it's
same time, all it takes is one sack,
and
maybe an injury.
It was his
and
first career start. So I don't know. This could be an interesting game, and it may go the opposite way. It may just be a blowout, but I think North Carolina State may come out and do something. Do they win? I don't think so, but it could be one of those games that we see an upset. So,
I'm sure it'll be a difficult game for either team for sure.
So what are you picking there, Jaden?
Yeah, I'm picking Notre Dame.
Okay.
Either by that touchdown prediction or two.
I'll go with Notre Dame also.
I'm gonna say Notre Dame has the higher chance
Yeah.
in this situation.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to watch that game, Notre Dame, ABC, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, that will be also played. And another game. I mean, there's a lot of games happening at 12. We've got
At
2
noon,
more. Yeah. So another noon Eastern Standard Time on FS1, or no, I'm sorry, I skipped one. ESPN. We have Utah versus Baylor. Now Baylor's already lost a game, so they're down.
Who'd they lose to again?
Baylor lost to Texas State is 42-31. So,
I don't know, man.
Utah's predicted win. They got 8 points. They're giving them. So
Only 8.
yeah, I don't know.
Man, I don't think Baylor's necessarily bad as a program. It's just I just feel like Utah's defense will be the key point or the key frame here for the Utah and Baylor game.
Yeah.
And maybe the running offense for Utah. If Baylor can shut down the running, we didn't see Utah throw that much on Florida. I mean, they did. Don't get me wrong, they did, but their rushing definitely took the game against the Florida game. I think if Utah is allowed to run the ball and they play quick and effective defense like they did against Florida, I mean, I think Utah wins it. To be
Well,
honest,
here's-
Baylor losing to who? Texas State?
Yeah. Texas State 42-31. Here's the difference right here. The Baylor's quarterback went 21 for 31 with 303 yards, 2 touchdowns. Utah's went 12 for 18 with 159 yards with 1 touchdown. I don't know. It could be another decent game, but you're coming off a loss. That may give Baylor more incentive to prove something versus a number 12 Utah.
And again, Baylor might do it, but for now, I think that Utah pulls it out by a touchdown or two, maybe even a field goal, to be honest. That's my prediction, but I'm picking Utah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to put any chips on Baylor. I think their quarterback might be better, but
is their defense good?
I think it's who is their quarterback? Blake Shapen. It's hard to tell. He's had good times and he's had bad times. I think let's see. I can't remember where did he come from somewhere?
I don't know. But Baylor's lost the last 5 games, and that's including last season. So for them to snap that losing streak would be something fierce for them.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it's
absolutely.
Utah, just off of. I mean, yeah, I don't know. They do have a lot to prove. They've got a losing streak right now going on. I don't know if they're going to be able to snap that losing streak versus number 12 Utah. So Utah all day long.
Yeah, I think Utah definitely has a better chance.
All right, so we all picked Utah. No one's disagreed so far, so that's interesting. The next one up, as also at noon Eastern Standard Time on last game was on ESPN. By the way, this one I'm talking about now is on FS1, and that's Kansas State versus Troy. Number 15, Kansas State versus Troy. Kansas State is predicted to they got like a 16.5 spread, so it's looking like this one's supposedly supposed to go pretty one-sided.
Kansas State.
Yeah.
I think Kansas State is definitely skewed for this.
I mean, it's Troy. They really don't play big teams. This is the biggest team they'll probably play all year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
it's the only ranked one they'll play this year so far. So,
to me, there's not much to say, but Kansas State just wins. I mean, I can't even say anything else. But Kansas State. That's it. Like that's all I can say.
Yeah, it's Kansas State.
Yeah. I agree.
And I know y'all probably saying, well, y'all are probably going through these pretty quick. Well, a lot of these are cupcake games. You know, they're fluff games. They don't mean anything other than just easy wins. So
at least to us, some people may disagree, but when you have someone like I don't know, LSU versus Grambling or something, like, really? You want me to talk about how, man, Grambling, dude, they're doing great, man. I mean, look at that offensive. Like, no, like Grambling's not doing anything against LSU.
No,
and
absolutely
know that.
not.
There's no reason for me to praise Grambling. I don't know much about Grambling, and I'm not going to research Grambling, and that may sound ignorant, and that be like, well, I'm not watching you guys no more, or I ain't talking to you guys no more, or whatever. But like, no, like I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, Grambling could put hurting on LSU. Like, no, they're not. They're not even going to come close.
So let's go with we're all saying Kansas State on that one. Let's go to the next one, which I think this one could be the first interesting game really of the week. Probably the only one really worth watching at noon, and that's going to be on Fox, the Colorado and Nebraska game. So
I'm worried about Colorado.
Yeah, I am too. So
they're actually quite scary.
Number
22, but they're scary.
Well, just off of what the hype that's around them right now is what is interesting. I mean,
and it's warranted.
It is warranted. I mean, 1-10 last year, I think is what they went. Now they're coming in. They're ranked right off the bat after week 1. You know, big win they got, and now they're going up against Nebraska. Nebraska's coming off of a loss, so they're predicting Colorado to win this game by 3 points.
Is Nebraska's defense that good, really?
It's still
Is
Nebraska.
Nebraska going to hold? Is
I mean,
Nebraska going to
Nebraska
hold
just got a new head
Colorado?
coach, if I remember correctly, and I don't think his reputation is living up
Yeah,
to
but
as.
also you have to remember that Nebraska's football program over the last so long, or how many years, however many years, has been like in a curse. Like the games that they're supposed to win, they never win for some reason, and like everyone knows it. And it's like more suffering to be a Nebraska fan than a Tennessee fan because they've had it rough the last couple of years. But I mean, I think Colorado wins it, but only by 3.
Well,
I don't know.
this is what's interesting is the over under on this is like 59. They're giving Colorado by 3 points, but the matchup predictors show Nebraska up 58.7%. So this was the
Yeah.
one where they're like it could really go either way.
Either way, yeah.
Well, see, I mean, they simulate the games like 20,000 times to make that. That's how they make those models. And I don't know how. I mean, they run through that model a lot, but I don't know how accurate that model can be when it comes to reality. And after watching Colorado's threats against TCU, I mean, I would like to say we'd see a repeat of the same against Nebraska.
You
would
could be
think
right.
so. Yeah.
And here's the thing: can Nebraska shut down Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter? If you guys don't know anything about Travis Hunter, he's filthy. He's a filthy wide. Okay, he's actually filthy. He's a filthy wide receiver. He's disgustingly good at the game. And you have Shedeur Sanders, who's also disgustingly good at the game. He put up dynasty to NFL franchise stats in the TCU game. Okay, so if Nebraska can somehow shut down both of them key players and their defense, stop their defense from making great plays, I think and then yeah, I could see it going either way. But honestly, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Colorado by 2 touchdowns. I'm gonna say it, 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
I
Wow.
want to say by a field goal is what I want to say.
I'm going to say by a touchdown. I'm not going to give them 2. I'll give them 1. I'm going to go Colorado. I think we need to get on this Deion Sanders hype train this year and see where it carries us out. But I hope best for them. I really do. I hope they do something good up there in Colorado.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
looking
mean,
at
it's
it
been a long time
realistically.
coming for
Okay,
Colorado.
I'm
but
not like the hype is warranted for Colorado. I'm not like, oh man, I'm going to praise Colorado and give them 55 touchdowns against Nebraska. No, I'm saying 2 because I don't know if Nebraska can. I feel like it'll be close enough where Nebraska can still be in it to win it. In it to win it. But I think Colorado comes out on top with 2 extra touchdowns on top because I mean, looking at what we saw from Shedeur Sanders, what I've seen from Travis Hunter, if they can't stop those key players, there's going to be a problem for Nebraska. So I'm just looking at it from that statistic standpoint and realistically. So I'm giving them 2 touchdowns, but I think Colorado takes the cake and eat it too.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
So
I want to say maybe by a field goal.
So we're all picking Colorado for this game. We all think they're
just
going to
different score discrepancies. Yeah.
So this is where we come off the 12 o'clock slot and go to the 2:15 slot, or for your military time people like me, 14:15. Cody was talking about how everything I got is military time. So this is on the ACCN, I guess the ACC network. It's the Clemson versus Charleston Southern. Is that what that is? Charleston Southern?
Yeah,
I'm
Charleston
sure.
Southern, yeah.
Charleston's, yeah. So, I mean, Clemson come off of a loss, which I just love. I
mean,
think they've got this game. I mean, if they don't, they've got so much more problems than what they had last week. This is how bad this game is, okay? If you look up their matchup, Charleston Southern doesn't have anything for like season leaders for their team. There's no stats. There's nothing. They won a game, but there's no stats on their players from last game. So nobody knows anything about Charleston Southern, or at least ESPN doesn't. So I don't know what's going on. It's crazy.
I mean, they are a private. I think they're a Christian school, aren't they? Christian University.
Sure, they played North Greenville last week, so
yeah. This might be Clemson's chance to go 1-1, maybe.
The biggest name I see that they play this year Okay, see, this is who they play, and it's all in this area too. So it's kind of this region. So they play North. They play North Greenville. They played Clemson, which is their biggest game of the year for them. Then William and Mary,
What?
Western Carolina, Kennesaw State, Lindenwood, UT Martin, Bryant, Tennessee State, Robert Morris, and Gardner Webb.
I knew about 3 of them.
So, yeah, we got Western Carolina, they got Tennessee State, and UT Martin are probably, besides Clemson, the biggest names on that list.
No.
Yeah, let's just be honest. Clemson's winning this game. This is be true.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Okay.
if they don't, like I said, they've got some major issues that they need to figure
Yeah.
out.
Also, not to backtrack. Not to backtrack. I don't want people to be too technical, but we're done with Colorado. We're not going to do it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but I just need to correct myself. Travis Hunter plays wide and cornerback for Colorado. He plays both positions. Okay, he played 147 snaps last game. Just to clarify, sorry, I know we're on Clemson, but I didn't want people to be like, well, he plays cornerback too. I know. He plays both positions on that team. That's why he's busted. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, Clemson takes the game. Sorry.
Clemson.
I had to collect.
Yeah, I would say Clemson. I hope, I really hope that Clemson's head coach is correct in saying that a game like that won't happen again for his sake.
I mean,
I'd hope
Charleston
not.
Southern, bro. Come on. Let's be real.
All right, so that's at 2:15. The next game coming up is at 3:30 or 15:30 on CBS. We have Michigan versus UNLV. I mean, it's another
Throwaway game, come on.
cakewalk. Yeah, it's another throwaway. It's
Yeah.
Michigan all day.
Absolutely.
The next game we got the first ranked versus ranked is Tulane versus Ole Miss. So that's
Okay,
on at 3:30
here we go.
ESPN2. They have Ole Miss winning this. They got a 77.3% chance of winning versus Tulane. So
I may watch that game. Ole Miss and Tulane.
yeah, I don't think it's going to be. It could be close, but I doubt it. I think Ole Miss
I
has
actually
got this.
think. Look, I think I don't know, man. I don't know.
You
I
saying that
think it's
Green
going to be a
Wave's
good
the
game.
Green Wave can come back?
I think Tulane could do it. I'm gonna be honest. I think they could. I don't know, man. I just think it's actually going to be a good game. Now, hopefully, it may not. Ole Miss may come out and just totally destroy them, but that's the problem I have. But I'm I don't know.
Here's what
Nick, you know?
Tulane needs to do if they want to win this game. They need to get their passing yards up. Their rushing yards are almost identical, both of them. Ole Miss has 143, Tulane has 142, almost identical. Here's where it starts to change: is your yards passing. Ole Miss 542, Tulane 294. If you want to win that game, you're going to have to get your passing up. And they allowed
I think
190
both Jackson Dart
yards
and
on
Michael
them.
Pratt can throw. They just don't do it as much as they should. I mean, Jackson Dart has got a very good arm, but he just won't throw at all. They rush, they let their halfbacks take control. I mean, they could do it, and I think Tulane also has the ability to do so as well, but they just rely too heavily on their
Well,
half.
that's the thing. It depends on the game plan the coaching staff has in play. If they're going to rely on the run game, if both of them can pass, you know, fairly decent, they may throw a pass here and there. But if they're both relying on the run game and exploiting that defense, then why would you need to pass it if you can? Honestly, this may be a game of legs. You know, like
Yeah.
if they don't start passing, they may just start running around the field, back and forth on each other. It could be instead of a shootout game like you would have with quarterbacks, it could be a run out game. Just halfback versus halfback, who can score the most touchdowns before the game's over, but I think they'll have to change their game plan if it comes down to that, to passing. So I do agree that this passing needs to be in a balanced gameplay or a game plan. is needed, I feel like. You don't want to be too lopsided on one side of the ball, like running too much and not passing enough. But if both of them are going to exploit the run, they both may not pass, but Tulane may be like, "Hey, let's pass this game, also run," because both of them I better thinking right now, well, all we have done is run pretty much. So let's just stop the run. That may be great incentive to play action, pass the ball, and you may get a dart down the field. You don't know, you know, depending on the game plans. But I actually think it's going to be a great game. I'm not going to say Tulane does it. I was going to pick Tulane, I felt like, but I
Well,
think I'm going to pick Ole Miss
let me
by
throw
like,
this in the mix here. Let me see if this may change your outlook a little bit, okay?
yep.
Tulane is on a winning streak right now. The last 5 games, they've won them all. Now, Ole Miss, the last 5 games, have only won one. They've lost 4 of the last 5 games. So, and their last game they won was a throwaway game. So, Tulane has the better record.
Sure, but I mean, it is it is the start of the season. You know, you don't know what happened behind the
Here's the
off
teams
season.
they won against last year: USC, UCF, Cincinnati, and SMU.
I mean, it that is USC is a. Mm.
Yeah, so
I mean, you have ranked. I think what USC is what 6 now or something.
so
So
and they won 46-45 in that game, so it was a close game.
yeah,
So they've been putting some
I don't
points on
know.
some people.
I
I'm
I
gonna
still want to say
I'm gonna go with Tulane on this one. I'm gonna go with the
I
underdog.
think I think Ole Miss by a touchdown at most.
This might be the first one I get wrong, but I'm gonna go with the underdog, and I'm gonna go with Tulane.
I mean,
I
all
think
that Tulane plays really is Ole Miss their entire schedule. Now they may play someone like Memphis or UAB and it be close games or whatever. But if Tulane is as good to be in the top 25 as people say they are, I mean they must be good enough to be ranked this season.
Yeah.
So
of
like
course
I
they
was gonna
are
pick Tulane, man.
number
I don't
24.
know. It's just I have to know the game plan. Of course, I won't know the game plan, but if they're just gonna exploit the run or not exploit the run, it depends. You know, I don't know if I really have a pick. I was gonna pick Tulane, but I also was gonna pick Ole Miss because I
He's
almost
flip
believe it's
flopping.
back and forth.
He's
I think it's a field goal between both of them. I think it's fairly even, to be honest, because I mean, Tulane may come out win by a field goal, and Ole Miss may come out and win by a field goal. To be honest, to me,
Well,
it
if you
really
had to
depends on what
pick
they
which
do.
one you're going to go with, who are you going to go with? Because I'm on Tulane. Cody's going with
I
Ole
would like to
Miss.
see Tulane win because why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not support an underdog? I guess
Yep,
I
I'm
was
going with
gonna
the
pick them
underdog.
originally, so I might as well stick with that.
All right, we're 2 underdogs and with the crowd favorite, the ESPN
Hey,
favorite, Ole Miss,
I just think
and that's at 3:30.
Plus, I don't like Lane Kiffin, so there you go.
Yeah, there you
There's
go.
that.
That's another good reason. 3:30 on the ESPN2. It will be that game. So the next game we're going to talk about another 3:30 game on ABC, Texas A&M versus Miami. Welcome to
Texas A&M versus
Miami.
Miami.
So Miami just came off of a pretty decent win, 38-3 versus Miami, Ohio. So that's where they played their first game or played against, and they're getting ready to go up against the number 23. Now Miami's not ranked. Texas A&M's ranked 23rd. Texas A&M is supposed to have this game. Um, no, wait a minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa. See, that's one of those games where they're like giving some points to one team, but the matchup predictor saying Miami may have this game by 52.9%. So
that's still a half. That's a half and half.
that's a
Ooh,
half and half.
Let's not act like Miami, is good by no means. They're
yeah.
pretty decent, but I don't know, man. This is another one I don't know. I mean, they beat Miami, Ohio, and they're not really nothing, to be honest. 38-3.
Yeah, they've won, lost, won, lost in their
Um,
last 5.
Texas A&M dropped 52 on New Mexico.
Yeah.
And here's
Mhm.
how this is why I think this is interesting. Clemson beat them last year 40-10. Pitt put 42 on them to 16. So when it looks like when they start playing these bigger teams, they falter.
Who?
And
Miami, Texas A&M? Who?
yeah, Miami. So
Okay, that's
Miami,
what I thought.
yeah, Miami lost to Clemson 40-10, Pitt 42-16, and FSU 45-3. So it looks like when they start playing
Yeah.
these big teams, they falter. I don't know.
I mean, this is my take, to be honest. They both kind of played nobodies. I mean, that's like 90% of the people at week 1. I'm going to say Texas A&M takes the cake,
Yeah,
Yep.
beats Miami.
Yep.
I'll give them touchdown or two. I'll say it, touchdown or two. I don't know. They
I'll
may
give
get
'em
3
2.
over, but I'm going to say a touchdown or 2.
yeah. I think Texas A&M's got this. I'll give them 2.
I think that's
I'll give
fair.
'em 2.
Miami can hang in there, I believe, but I just don't think they'll win.
I think they can hold their weight, but not enough.
Yeah, they're giving it a pretty even. They're saying Miami. The betting odds is giving it to Texas A&M though. So
Again, we could be wrong. You never know.
it
This
is
is
what
just
it is. Yeah, it's just
It's
predictions.
just picks and predictions.
So it's not really to dwell on too much, but I think that could be an interesting game.
Oh, I do. I do as well.
All right,
Yep.
so moving on, we all picked Texas on that one, or Texas A&M, I should say, not to confuse them with the other Texas. So moving on, we got on at 5 o'clock on the Pac-12 network. I didn't even know that was a network. I guess it is.
Yeah.
Pac-12 network.
Yeah, there's every conference has its own network, pretty much.
Oh, okay. Washington
Except for
versus Tulsa. This is a throwaway game. I don't think it's going to be even
Yep.
close.
No, I don't think so either.
Do we even dwell on this
think-
game?
no,
I
it's
don't-
Washington's all the way, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's Tulsa? That's what you're trying to tell me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Picking
Tulsa
the
all
underdog.
way.
Yeah. No, not in this one.
No,
Washington.
all day.
All right. So let's move on. 5:15, the ACC network. Oh, North Carolina versus Appy State.
Wow.
I'm gonna go for North Carolina. I haven't seen good things come out of Appy in a minute.
Well,
I mean,
the smart money is always to bet on the better team, which is North Carolina. The problem is Appy State has been known to upset people.
oh, yeah,
They
100%.
have.
They and not just regular team. I'm talking about big teams.
Like they
Michigan.
would go. Yeah,
I
they
mean,
would go to the big house and upset them.
yeah, they're playing in North Carolina this game.
Hey. Hear me out. They also beat Texas A&M last year
Yeah,
by 3. So
they've known to upset teams. I would not count them out.
I don't know, man. I mean, they played Gardner Webb last week. And they pretty much stomped them. I mean, it's Gardner Webb. I mean, the only other person besides what? UNC is what Wyoming, Old Dominion they play, and maybe Georgia State is like some games they're pretty balanced with, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean,
North Carolina, I'm doing it. Appalachian State, I think they may do it
What?
by field goal. Yeah, I'm gonna
What?
do it. I'm gonna say Appalachian State by field goal. I believe in their miracle, man.
you know
I'm
that's
gonna believe in their miracle.
that's not a bad bet, and here's why. Appy State's quarterback went 11 for 13. That's near perfect.
Oh man.
Now, it was only 174 yards, but that was 4 touchdowns he threw. Rushing yards, 24 carries for 115 yards, 1 touchdown. Receiving yards, 4 receiving yards, 64 yards, 1
Sorry,
touchdown.
I did not mean to cut you off, but guys, no, I'm. This is right. This has to be. Listen, okay, I'm going back to the previous schedule,
Uh-huh.
right? Appalachian State only lost by 2 to North Carolina, 63-61. Appalachian State beats Texas A&M last year, 17-14. They beat Troy, number 19 Troy last year, 32-28. I'm putting out, dude. That sounds crazy and it may sound delusional,
It
but I actually think
sounds.
Appalachian State
I know, and that's
wins
what.
by a field goal.
Now the predictor's saying North Carolina by 91.5%, and that would be smart money, right? That's smart money to say. Well, of course, they just came off of a win versus South Carolina. They're hyped up. It's in North Carolina. Well, why would you not bet on them? But Appy State has time and time again proven
They have
that
proved
they
themselves,
can
man.
upset big teams. I got to go for the underdog and pull for the
Yeah,
Mountaineers
I'm
here.
picking. I am as well.
I got to go with Appy
I mean,
State.
just looking about what I'm seeing, dude. Yeah. And I know this is last year. I know last season may not be the same as this season, but they beat Texas A&M, SEC team. They turn around and beat ACC, or they almost beat an ACC team, North Carolina. And it was 63-61.
Close
And they
game.
turn around and then beat Troy,
Yeah.
19 in the nation. Troy. So, I mean, yeah, I'm picking NC, or sorry, not NC. I'm picking Appalachian State. Jeez.
Just
Uh,
the Appy
by a field
State
goal.
Mountaineers. There you go. That's what you can say.
There
Appy
you go.
State. That's their little nickname for people that have lived near. I used to live pretty close to, and I worked for an apartment complex where a lot of their football players actually played at, and I think the coach at that time's daughter was the one that worked at the apartment complex also. But so yeah, it's Appy State. I gotta give it to them. They've
I
now
am as well.
it could go the other way, but they have been known to pull some big upsets versus some bigger teams. They're a mean team. They can pull it out. Appy State.
I agree. I'm picking them by 3 to be
Cody.
safe.
I'm I'm still gonna go for North Carolina.
He's playing safe here.
I'm
Alright,
still going
yeah,
for North
fair
Carolina.
enough.
I don't doubt the offense of Appalachian State, but I also don't doubt the defense of North Carolina. And I only say that because I believe, is said somewhere that they allowed what, -2 rushing yards in ground season on the ground of the
Negative
season,
2 rushing
and they've
yards. Yeah.
surrendered no touchdowns from the passing game. So I don't doubt North Carolina's defense at all. Now I don't, like I said before, I don't doubt that Appalachian's offense is going to be very tough for North Carolina, but I don't doubt I think that it's not going to be enough. Is all I'm going to say.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I'm still going to go for North Carolina here, and I, of course, like I said, it'll be a tough game for them. I would say probably by maybe a touchdown,
Okay.
maybe a touchdown.
Well, me and Jan going for the underdogs, Appy State. So let's go on to the next game at 6 o'clock. ESPN Plus is Oklahoma number 18 versus SMU.
Oh,
I mean, do we need to dwell on this one? They got them.
no.
The predictor says 90%. So I don't. I mean, they're even the betting odds giving them 15 points. So I'm gonna go with Oklahoma. It's not really worth to talk about.
Yeah, I'm going
No,
Oklahoma.
I agree.
And
Simple as
then
that.
same time slot, ESPN Plus or ACC Network X is Duke versus Lafayette. Another throwaway
Really?
game.
I want to say Duke is definitely going to pull it through.
It's a
With
99%.
Riley Leonard, I think
Yeah.
Riley Leonard will easily
Duke
take
is
care of
gonna win this game,
Yeah.
no problem.
That's another throwaway game. No sense of dwelling on Duke on that. I mean on that game, because it's Duke.
Yeah.
All right, and now the big game at 7 o'clock that everybody's going to talk about or has been talking about. 7 o'clock, ESPN Network, Alabama versus Texas.
What a game that will be.
I believe it's actually gonna be a good one. I'm not even kidding.
I think it's
I don't
gonna
know,
be a
something
wonderful-
about me just feels feels odd about this game. I will say right off the bat, I do believe Alabama still wins this game,
Yeah,
but I believe it's going to be a good competitive one.
I think they may win by possibly a field goal. I don't think.
and
I
here's
don't, I
what's
don't
think-
think they're going to get a whole bunch on them at all.
here's what's crazy about this game. Everybody's predicting Alabama to win this game, but the stats are the stats, right? Total yards for Texas 458, Alabama 431. Yards allowed from Texas 176, Alabama 211.
Ooh,
Hmm.
whoa.
Now, passing yards for Ewers,
Ewers.
yeah, 19 for 30,
Twin.
260 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, that's not bad. Not great,
No.
but not
I
bad.
mean, he is a former 5-star quarterback.
Yeah, and then you got Milroe, 13 for 18, 194 yards with 3 touchdowns. So they've got more on the Texas side than Milroe does, same touchdowns. But here's where it starts breaking down a little bit different. Blue for Texas got 10 carries, 55 yards. Milroe is still leading the
He
rushing
carries.
yards.
Yeah,
He's
he
carrying
carries.
it. 7
Can
carries for
they
48
stop
yards.
Milroe? Can Texas stop Milroe? That
They
is
got the better
the
defense
question.
on paper.
On paper. See, that's what I like trying to like pick it realistically, because by that, you'd be like, oh, well, then that's Texas. They have the better stats. But now you have to go down to talent. Okay, Texas wins on paper due to stats, defensively and offensively, just barely,
Yeah.
But
Now,
man,
here's rushing yards allowed for Texas 27 yards. That's it, 27 yards.
well, it was
Hmm.
Rice,
It's true.
That's true.
to be fair.
That's true. You
And
got a
again,
point.
we in the last two,
But
the
look
last
who
two
Alabama
times we
played
talked-
also, so you got to put them in perspective also. They have more
I see,
rushing
they
yards
played-
allowed for Alabama, and they played just a weak team also. They had 78 yards allowed for Alabama.
For Middle Tennessee, I believe
Yeah.
it was.
So, yeah,
Hmm.
you got to look at it that way too. To be fair, this could be a very, very interesting game to watch.
I mean, I'm saying it's going to be a competitive game. I think it's going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah.
I believe if both defenses show up and both offenses are shut out by the defenses, and some of them get good plays off and they'll score a couple. I'm thinking it's like, I don't know, man, 21-17, 21-14. It could even be
Mhm.
21-3. I'm thinking it's going to be around the 21 area. But again, a lot of people's like, man, you crazy. And I could be, dude. And it may go a shootout. You don't know. It could go up into the 50s.
I
It's-
want to say it'll be more
56,
like a
52.
28-24.
The betting odds are only giving Alabama 7 points here, so
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I mean, I think that's pretty accurate. I think it'll be a low scoring game by a touchdown or two or a field goal. Alabama takes it. That's my take. I just don't think that
now
the
here's
offensive line
I
can
don't know.
stop Alabama.
I don't know. Here's what I'm thinking. Now this could be interesting, and it just
No way.
just
No way you're picking Texas, Dustin.
well, here's what I want. Okay, and here's what I want. I
Yeah.
want Texas to win this game. So 2 years in a row, a UT team has beat Alabama.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair, but I can't.
Yeah.
I know I pulled a cheap shot against picking Tulane over Ole Miss because I don't like Lane Kiffin, but I'm also just saying, hey, I think Tulane may actually do it. But I just don't know. I would want Texas to win because it lessens the chance of Alabama getting to the playoffs again this year.
Yeah,
Because if you lose like 2 games, you're pretty much snuffed out.
yeah,
You're snuffed out. You can't make it. I'm not saying you can't because Alabama still did because we lost. Tennessee lost, but
yeah.
to
Yeah.
South Carolina. But I would, as much as I would like Texas to beat Alabama, I just think Alabama is slightly the better team, and I'm just not gonna stump Alabama. As I'm not gonna, and I know
Well, you got to
rivalry game.
think, last year was also the year that Alabama almost lost. Or wait, 22 last year? They did lose to LSU.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, we're being nitpicky, guys. I get
We
it. I
are
understand.
being
It was an
nitpicky,
LSU
but this is
and
the
being
game of the
crazy, but
week.
this is Alabama, guys. This is
It's the
Alabama.
game of the week.
Do you
We
think
gotta
Nick
be
Saban is going to
nitpicky.
just twiddle his fingers and not put a game plan together? Now, it doesn't mean that he didn't have a game plan against LSU. LSU just came out and played the better ball game. Does that mean LSU 9 times out of 10
Yeah,
beats
but does that
Alabama?
also mean
No!
when they played Ole Miss last year and went 30-24? I mean, was that Nick Saban twiddling his fingers then?
Anything can happen. This is the problem. You can't be like, well, Alabama, I mean, they suck now. No, you can't, like, no, it's
Oh,
not
I
a
don't.
thing.
No, not. I'm not saying they suck at all. I'm not saying
Oh,
that.
I'm not saying y'all
Yeah.
either,
No.
but I'm just saying this is I knew when we came to this game that everyone was gonna be nitpicky, but Alabama got scored 7 points on. Yeah, that's crazy to a nobody to say they got scored on. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But also it's like just because Alabama lost to LSU last year does not mean 9 times out of 10 LSU beats Alabama. I bet it's like 7 times out of 10, maybe 7 times out of 10, Alabama beats LSU, and 3 times out of 10, LSU beats Alabama. I'm just saying that this game's going to be good. It's going to be competitive, and I believe it's going to be close. I'm not disagreeing with anyone here on this game's going to be crazy, I believe. But again, Alabama may come out and totally shut out Texas.
They could.
And then what now? What about that LSU game last year that Alabama lost to? It doesn't mean anything. See, that's the problem with college football. It's not as straightforward or linear as people think it is. You know, it's not just as simple. And I agree with you. I'm not trying to discredit anything about, well, Alabama got 7 on them last week and they lost to LSU last year and they almost lost to Ole Miss last year. It's like Alabama lost to 2 people last year. They lost to us in what, Georgia? In the regular season?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just picking Alabama. I just feel like they'll play the better game. I want Texas to win by all means, but I'm just not going to pick Texas because I want them to win. That's a little biased.
I'm not.
That's just
okay.
biased prediction.
No, and I'm not saying that's why I'm picking Texas. I'm picking them because
Oh, I
on
know.
paper they are the better team. That's on paper. They've got just as many good players as Alabama does. The difference is Texas not had the chance to prove themselves as much as Alabama. Alabama plays all the big teams every single year. They have the chance to prove themselves. Texas don't. Texas
I just
gets
don't
this
think
chance.
Texas has the depth, man. I don't think Texas has the depth. I don't think Texas has all the talent Alabama has. They have some talent. Texas has talent to be deadly, but they're not Alabama deadly. Can they stop Jalen Milroe? Can they stop the runs from Alabama? Can they stop the wides from Alabama? We don't know that.
We don't
And like
know.
we said, we went back to that halftime talk show guy. 1, 2, 10 seconds to pocket for the Texas quarterback. That's Rice. That is Rice that they're playing against. Of course, the offensive
No,
line from
I
Texas can just hold
agree.
them there.
Yeah, I agree with you that.
Is Alabama
yeah.
gonna do? No, Alabama's outsides, edge rushers. No, I'm sorry.
No, I
Alabama
don't
wins
disagree with you there.
by a
that they're
thread,
not,
bruh.
It's not Rice that
No.
they're playing. But I'm just saying that Texas has the talent enough where they can win this game.
No, I
Are
agree.
they-
I'm not discrediting that either.
Yeah. And on paper right now, they're the better team. That's why I'm picking them. Only because I think they could upset Alabama. It could be the start of the Saban,
And it could be the fall
retirement.
Saban. Exactly.
and that's what I really am hoping for is the Saban retirement because I can't wait to see what happens
Not that we hate Saban.
No,
it's just
I just
it'd
wanna
be
see what
interesting to see what
happens
happens to Alabama.
to Alabama. Yeah, exactly.
Is their power
Now,
dynasty
if
going to
memory
fall?
serves me correctly, I think Jalen Milroe was on Texas's team in 2020, and he flipped to Alabama, if I remember correctly. So Jalen Milroe might know a couple of the Texas formations or their tactics. I mean, it's
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
it's
just
hard to
that
say.
also just means that Texas wants to whoop up on him because he left their team, and they're coming in that game to prove something. Alabama that doesn't have to prove anything; they just got to
No.
play their game. Texas is coming to Alabama to prove something to the whole SEC that they are a competitor to the SEC. That's why they're coming. That's what this game's all about for them.
As
they could
much as I want Texas to
probably
win.
Lose the rest of the season, and it won't be as important to them as this game. For this game,
I agree.
This is their championship game right here.
As much as I want Texas to win this game, I just can't be like, and I'm not saying that's what anyone else here is doing. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, Dustin. I'm just saying for me personally, I can't be like, and I'm taking in consideration to the stats that Texas has better stats. but I just think Alabama has better talent. I think after 1 week, Nick Saban's like, all right, we're turning the burners up. We're going to play like an Alabama team. They played like an Alabama team last week. Don't get me wrong. I mean, to a nobody, yeah, they got scored on by a nobody, and you're like, huh, that I wonder, But like, it happens to the best of us. That cliche saying, it happens to the best of them. It's not. This ain't the downfall yet. But if Texas wins, it might be the downfall of Alabama. You don't know. But I'm saying
No, I'm
close
not.
game,
I'm
maybe
what
low
I'm
scoring
saying
game.
is if Texas win, it'll be by
Alabama.
very close. It won't be a
I
blowout by
agree.
no means.
I agree.
I
And as much as
agree,
I want
yeah.
Texas
Yeah.
to win, I think this Alabama does it, man.
Well,
I think Alabama
I'm
does it.
with the underdog. I'm with Texas. You're
Fair
going with
enough.
Alabama, Cody.
Oh, we'll go with Alabama.
I think Alabama more.
Okay.
Likely.
I'm just saying, just off the stats. Now,
Granted,
I
I
could be,
think it'll be a close game.
yeah, and I could
I
be,
think it'll be an
agree.
extremely close
yeah,
game.
I think it's definitely a game to watch. All right, so next game up, now that we argued about that game for enough, 7 o'clock, Fox Network, Oregon versus Texas Tech. This is a throwaway game. No one's going to be watching this game.
You sure?
I mean, am I sure?
You sure? Yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
You sure, Dustin?
Yeah, you vote for a lot of underdogs here, Dustin.
No, this is a throwaway game. This is another throwaway game. No one's going to watch this game because the Texas-Alabama game is going on. So good luck, Oregon,
Okay, well,
with your game.
that's true. But wait. Hold on.
I hope you have
Not
fun.
so fast as Lee. Not so fast as Lee Corso says.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Texas Tech play some teams. Okay, they
Okay.
play some people.
Yeah.
I think Oregon still wins it.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be a close game. I'm telling you. Yes, it will be outshined, but people are going to be like, dang, I wish I saw this game. I'm saying it. Yeah,
You
it may
think
sound
so?
delusional. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Look, Texas Tech barely lost to Wyoming. And
Okay.
now Wyoming ain't nothing to crack about. They only lost
It
by
was
2.
an overtime. Yeah.
They only lost 2. They play a nobody Charlton. Or
Okay.
Tarleton, sorry. Nobody. Then they play West Virginia. Okay, West Virginia, I see you. Not a throwaway there. Then they play Houston. Then they play Baylor. Then they play Kansas State, BYU, TCU, Kansas, UCF, and Texas. So Texas Tech plays some people.
They do.
They play some people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, yeah, Oregon wins it. Oregon wins it. I'm agreeing with you. I just don't believe it's a throwaway though. That's just my opinion. You can disagree, and that's fine. But I actually think this will be an interesting game.
Yeah,
As
it
much
could
as
be.
it sounds crazy for me to say, but I'm going to say Oregon still wins it. Probably about 2 touchdowns, maybe 3. I will give them a generous 3 touchdowns over Texas Tech, but I think Texas Tech can hold in there.
Okay. Good.
I'm gonna
Fair
say
enough. Fair enough.
So Oregon by 3 touchdowns. I'm saying.
I'm giving a touchdown or 2. Oregon.
Yeah, I'm with Oregon as well. Just
Cody.
what do you think, Cody?
Yeah,
You think
I
Texas
don't know
Tech
what
pulls it out?
I don't know what Jay's talking about. I think Oregon.
What? What? Are you delusional?
I don't know. I think Oregon.
No, Texas Tech's not a god team, but no, they're not no throwaway team either.
I don't think they're a throwaway team. I just don't see. I don't see what they could be doing. I mean,
I'm not saying Texas Tech wins the game, but Oregon's not going to come out and just 56-0 them. I don't believe that for a second.
And we got to back up for a minute because I'm looking at my ESPN app, and I don't know why y'all didn't stop me at this earlier, but after the Oregon thing, anyways. But we're already at 7 o'clock, and I've got my ESPN app, and I have notifications for Tennessee, so I missed that game because it's at the top of my screen. But it's at 5 o'clock on the ESPN Plus, SCN Plus. It's at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I missed it because I was waiting to get to that 5 o'clock slot, but by the time I got to the 5 o'clock, we was already in 6 o'clock territory. So it's Tennessee versus Austin Peay. So Tennessee's predicted win.
No one's watching this game.
99%.
no. Yeah, I don't.
Only Tennessee
don't
fans
see-
are watching this game.
I mean, I'm going to watch it.
I mean, I'm watching
yeah.
it. I would like to watch it too, but it's just Tennessee wins for sure, no
I
doubt.
would like to see. I would like to look at it to see where we're at.
Yeah. That's the reason
Just
why
a follow-up game.
Yeah, I want to see how we
Yeah.
play. That's about it. That's I'm not saying it's going to be a tough game or anything. I'm just watching to see how our quarterback performs, and if we're going to be high enough to see our future quarterback performing. Tennessee all the way.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
Should we say good old Rocky Top?
Rocky Top.
All
Yeah.
right. Let's see where we at. Okay, at 7:30, ESPN Plus, SEC Network Plus. Woo, these are getting kind of hard to say. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. LSU versus Grambling. I
I
will
don't know.
say,
Grambling might do it. I mean,
I will-
that's LSU.
I
Come
will
on.
say they're both 0-1 right now.
Let's just be honest, though.
Grambling all the way.
No.
Hey, they've had
I think
one less
Grambling's got the
interception
tricks,
than
man.
LSU has, so. So I mean,
Yeah, but Grambling also hasn't played against Florida State, so
that's true. That is true, and they probably play nobody the rest of the
They don't.
season. So
I can already tell you they don't. This is the only game that matters for Grambling, and they're getting paid to be there.
my question is LSU just come out in this game and just beat the living snot out of this team?
I would like for them to.
I think they're mad. I think they're mad after FSU. I'm sure they will.
They're just gonna come out there and just
Wow.
beat them like a redheaded stepchild because they lost that last game.
Yeah, I'm obviously LSU. I don't think there's much to say, to be honest.
Yeah, that's LSU all day long. Cody is agreeing with us apparently.
Yeah. I
Okay.
agree.
Next game, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on ABC. Wisconsin versus Washington State. Both got 1-0 right now. Wisconsin's predicted by 63.4%. So
Sorry, I'm doing some research.
yeah, I'm having to also.
Okay, so Washington State plays some people, actually.
Yeah, they have, and
They play
all-
Colorado State, they play Wisconsin, then a throwaway of Northern Colorado, I believe, right? That's Northern Colorado. Then they
Yep.
play Oregon State, then UCLA, tough. Arizona, okay, pretty good. Oregon, tough. Arizona State, maybe, Stanford, California, okay. Colorado and Washington. So, yeah, Washington State plays some people.
I will say their
Honestly-
offense is pretty decent. Their defense is what they're going to struggle with. They their defense allowed some yardage there against them, so it's not good, especially in the passing department. Their passing yards allowed was 320 yards.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
so that's not great.
Well, let's also check.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, that's not good. So I'm looking at Wisconsin's schedule because they're Big Ten, right? They're Big Ten. And I'm looking at their last game stats against Buffalo. I mean, Cameron Ward balled out. I'm just gonna let you know. And I know it's Colorado State Rams, nothing crazy, but Cameron Ward balled out. The QB for Wisconsin balled out, and Wisconsin against Buffalo only he threw 2 interceptions. Wow.
Ooh.
1 touchdown, only 189. I don't know, guys.
Oh.
I don't know about this, actually. If we want to go for stats, this may be the game for it.
I mean,
This may be the game for it to go for stats because Wisconsin against Buffalo, he didn't play good. Wisconsin's QB did not play great, and Cameron Ward on Washington State balled out, man.
yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. Washington has the better offense, but Wisconsin has
It's
the better defense.
Yeah,
So
the defense here. Yeah, but 38-17. Now Wisconsin took it by sort of a landslide still, don't get me wrong, but 17. Buffalo Bulls put 17 on Wisconsin.
I
Huh?
know, but I mean,
No, I think I don't know.
I don't know.
Dustin.
This
I
one's
don't know everyone.
This one could be a very well a good toss-up game. This could go either way. If Washington's offense plays like they did, they could beat Wisconsin. I don't know if
I'm
I should
just
just flip a
looking at
coin on
this,
this
man.
one, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what
wow.
I'm thinking.
Let's see the total yards though. Let's look at team stats and stuff here.
Yeah,
So
total yards.
Whoa. 556 for Washington State against Colorado and
It's-
503 for Wisconsin.
Yeah,
that's the total yards.
I
That's
know.
just not breaking down the
Look at the
individual
passing
sections.
for Washington. It's 466 yards.
Yeah.
That is
Shoo.
crazy. But on the
That is
Wisconsin, they've run the whole entire time, 314 yards to
Yep, they have.
Washington's 90.
So it looks like we have a passer and a running team here
Which
going up against each other.
this is what's interesting about this. Wisconsin runs the ball. Well, Washington State
Whoa.
has a better defense versus the rush.
And also, time of possession 30 minutes for Wisconsin, but 37 minutes for Washington State.
Yeah. So, man, I don't know.
No, let's not get wrong. Let's not get wrong here. The interceptions thrown by Colorado State was 2.
Yeah.
They also,
Mm.
but West Washington lost 2 fumbles as well.
Mm.
But their third down efficiency, Washington State's third down efficiency is 11 for 17. That's pretty good with 30 first downs. Wisconsin's is only 4 for 12. Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm doing it, guys. Washington State.
Yep.
may
I'm
come
going to
out.
say
I'm gonna
Washington
say it.
State also. I say Wisconsin's leaving the top 25. Washington State,
welcome.
welcome
Come
to
in,
it.
I
Yep,
guess.
come on in.
I agree. I'm picking Washington State by. I think it'll still be a close game.
I think, it'll
be
be
fair.
close too.
A touchdown, Washington State.
I agree. Touchdown, Washington State.
I mean, yeah, sure. We'll go with underdogs here. I mean, they have the better stats as far as that goes.
I
Of course,
mean,
that's
he balled
all-
out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Buddy balled out. Cameron
So-
Ward, 37 for 49.
Yeah,
balled out.
that's crazy. Yeah, so the first all 3 underdog pick. That's crazy right there. All right, so next game at 8:30 on the ACC network, Florida State versus Southern Miss.
Mm.
I mean, Florida State's
Oh no, Southern Miss, man.
it's Florida State, guys. I mean, come on.
You know what? Let's
Yeah.
not root them out yet. Let's just not root them out. Let's see who
No.
Southern Miss plays.
Go ahead and look at the stats. It ain't even gonna be close.
Yeah, it's not gonna be close, but
I mean, Florida
Okay,
State
it's
just
not-
came off
they're not-
a big game.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Florida State's winning the game. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Like for sure. But I'm just kind of pulling everyone's leg. But let's see who Southern Miss plays. And okay, well they really don't play. I mean, they play Appy State. They play Tulane at least.
Woohoo!
Oh, they do have a rough start. I mean, they do
Yeah.
open up with Alcorn. What?
Alcorn State,
State. They beat them. Cool. They must be awful then.
40 to 14.
But then, yeah, Florida State, crazy. And then, then they play Tulane.
Yep.
So, I mean, they do have a rough. And then they play MS State later down the road. I mean, yeah, and Appy later down.
Yep.
Arkansas State. Hey, Butch Jones, you can redeem yourself. No, yeah, Florida State's just.
Let's not hold a breath
rolling
there,
through 'em.
guys. Come on now. Yeah, Florida State all
Hey,
the
what
way.
was that quote he said? Butch Jones said after the game, to win the game, you have to not ever lose the game, or some
Oh my
stupid quote he said.
Did he really say
Hey.
that? Please tell
Yeah,
me. He
hey,
said
yeah,
that.
we'll have to look it up
Oh,
after this. I'll
that's
show it
bad.
to you.
That is bad.
But yeah,
Uh,
I mean, we don't even need to mull on this. It's
yeah, it's Florida State.
FSU.
All right, moving on.
Oh God, yeah, it's FSU. Sorry, I was looking at the stats.
Oh, moving on. Yeah, the stats are horrible. Moving on. 9 o'clock, Pac-12 network, Oregon State versus UC Davis. C. Davis, eh?
Oregon State, I guess. I
They're
Yeah,
predicted by
UC.
97.4%.
who's UC Davis, by the way?
That name sounds
Aggies?
familiar. The Aggies, yeah.
Let's say you. Okay, they play nobody
Yeah, they don't play nobody.
except for Oregon State.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a bad. I don't think it's going to be a game that's going to be hard for Oregon State.
Yeah,
So-
no, I don't even need to talk. I don't even want to talk about it no more.
Yep, me neither. Cody?
Oregon.
I don't. Yeah, Oregon.
All right.
Oregon
And the
State.
last game at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time on Fox, USC versus Stanford.
USC
Versus
versus Stanford, huh?
Let's
let's
look
pull
at
both of 'em
Stanford's
up.
last game. Now let me look
Yep,
at
they
Stanford.
played Hawaii and pretty much they won by 13.
Okay.
Let's look at the stats.
All right. Stats. Team stats.
Wow, Hawaii had the better QB that game.
Yeah.
Hey, their rushing yards allowed at for Stanford's -5 yards. So
Hmm.
Yeah. Wow. God.
but they allowed 355 yards of passing yards. So there's that.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm looking at strength of schedule right now, and I'm also looking at. Oh wow, they're pretty evenly matched on schedule, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, stats. USC's got better stats. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think USC wins. I mean, Stanford. I mean, come on, man, it's Hawaii. You
Yeah.
almost lost to them. And they were
Yeah.
0-2. They're 0-2
Well,
now, but they were 0-1.
I mean, Hawaii has played 2 games, and they did put up a fight against Vandy.
Yeah, I will say that.
Interesting.
I will say that, but
So I don't know. I think it's USC all day long.
yeah, I agree. I mean, they both have fairly even schedules. It's just, is Stanford positive at the end of the season? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for their schedule, because they pretty much played the same people, give or two, substituting 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think USC wins it just because, honestly, I think they have the better talent. They have the better team overall. Caleb Williams. I mean, I don't even want to talk about Caleb Williams. He's getting
Yeah.
overhyped, but
Yeah, I think it's an
I
easy
agree.
game.
It's
USC. Cody.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I
don't know
agree.
by how much, but
I agree.
So we pretty much went through the whole top 25 schedule. That's everybody's playing. A few disagreements here and there on. We pretty much started out pretty much the same consensus throughout the first few games, and then we started getting a little bit different. Some crazy
Yeah,
I
picks.
think it'll be interesting.
we disagreed on what the Appy and North Carolina.
Yeah, the
It was me,
Texas and
Dustin,
Alabama,
Texas and Alabama. Yeah.
and me versus
Also,
y'all.
but
So-
roughly the same. Yeah, there wasn't much we disagreed on, to be honest.
Nah, most of them were pretty consensus. You know,
Ole
was
Miss and
that
Tulane. I have already said that. I felt like,
yeah, the green wave there.
yeah, we picked Tulane.
So I think it's going to be a it's one of those weeks where you only have a few games that are really great, and then you got a lot of them are just throwaway games. First couple weeks are usually like that, anyways. Next week's when it's going to start getting interesting,
Oh yeah.
and you may see a lot more disagreements between us because you know we'll start making some crazy wagers basically on who we think is going to win these games based on stats and how they played in the previous games.
I'll be watching. I will be watching these games this week.
Yeah.
And I will be
a lot of these
watching
games.
that Oregon and Texas Tech game.
And
Okay.
I will say I had found something I didn't know even existed last weekend. My wife knew about this, and she didn't tell me about it. But I'd seen it. I'd seen it when I popped up the ESPN, and not that we're sponsored by ESPN or anything or affiliated with them whatsoever. But I turned on the ESPN app on my Apple TV, and they let you watch 4 different games at one time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I got on
Yeah,
there.
the multicast.
Yeah, the multicast, and I was on there watching like 4 different games the whole entire time. And what killed me is, you think 4 different games going on, you would never be watching a commercial. And there was like 2 or 3 times where every single game had a commercial on, and I'm just like, shoot me now. This can't be happening to me whatsoever. Why is there 4 commercials going on at the same time? And of course, one of them was that stupid Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Dude.
That makes me want to throw up every time I
Cheese
see it.
sandwich.
Yeah.
Pimento cheese. Yep.
That
Oh,
looks bad. It just doesn't look appetizing, man.
But yes,
But anyway, that's not what we're talking
no,
about.
no. But I thought that where the
No, that was-
ESPN
yeah.
app has the multi-stream, that's pretty cool. So if you got ESPN app and or you got the ESPN Plus, whatever you have to have for that, it is a really cool thing to be able to watch 4 games at one time. especially in these college games where some of them are not. You wouldn't watch them regularly. It's not something that you would just. But if you just kind of want to keep up with it, having those up there, it's really cool to watch. So that's why I did last weekend for some of those games that I wanted to kind of not really like dive into a lot, but I really wanted to kind of pay attention to see how they was going to win the game and stuff, and that was really cool to have. So
But yeah, I mean, I think we all can collectively agree here that the game of the week for the hype so far is the Alabama and Texas game. Like that is game of the week so far until
It'll be
how it
determining
ends.
for a lot of things.
Yep.
oh yeah, I
I
think
agree.
it will. Well, if let's put this for just a hypothetical. A hypothetical. Let's say Texas comes out and wins this game. What's this do to Alabama? Alabama's
Cripples
going to
them.
be
I think
shaky.
demoralization and possible playoff removal. I don't know, but
Well, they'll have to
possibly.
play Georgia later that year to find out because I don't think Alabama would lose to anyone else if
I
they
don't.
lost it.
I don't.
Well, I don't know. They could play us and lose.
Yeah, I mean it could.
LSU.
They
Not this
beat
year.
LSU.
Yeah, not this year.
They
But
may not. Again, that's
Do
college
they
football. You just
play?
don't know.
yeah,
Let's see.
I was watching
Look,
this one guy, and he was talking about how much he loved college football because it's the only like real sport that young people every single week can mess up their whole entire career,
yeah,
and it will change the effect of the game
entirely.
entirely.
Yeah.
And that's
And that's the thing.
that's
That's the
different from the
beauty of it.
NFL. NFL,
Yeah, that's
you've got 3 or 4 other guys to just fill in that spot no matter what. That's been with that team for like 10 years.
15
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
So, but this is a game where one guy gets hurt can really throw the whole
The whole
game.
team out of whack.
Exactly.
Yeah, the whole team.
We've seen that. We've seen that in a lot of games. It happens like that. So, yeah, it's
That's the beauty of
nothing
college
like
football.
it's nothing like college football.
Because Cody brought up the point. Well, LSU beat Alabama. That's the thing. It was last year. Like this year, it could be totally different. And I'm not discrediting what he said. That's a good point. Hey, they beat them last year. What's stop them this year? Well, it depends on how the year goes.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's like Tennessee can go into Alabama this year, play them, and we get just lambasted. We don't even get more than a field goal. It's not as linear as it would be in the NFL because the NFL has a more linear progression. Like, oh well, that's the top team. Of course they're going to win. Like whatever. But like a number one team could get shut out. Like it's just all about the game plan, the mistakes made, and just who plays the better ball game
Well, I
and
mean,
the talent.
yeah. I mean, if you look at this, I mean, let's take this for example. We didn't do a pick for the first week games, but I
Nope.
guarantee if we'd have done one, there would have been some of those games we would have never in a million years guessed they would have won.
Duke, Colorado.
TCU
Yeah.
and Colorado.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
wrong, and we didn't even make that prediction.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
So I mean, that's the kind of thing that's what's really awesome about college football is you can have everything. You can have the stats. You can see how these teams play every
The
single week.
talent.
The talent's great, and when they get into that game, something
It
can
just falls
change,
apart.
and it falls apart, and the game is completely different than what you'll ever expected. Probably why I'm probably going to dive a younger age because of being a Tennessee fan. Because I want to pull out the remaining hair that I have left. I'm gonna
I'll
start.
peel my skin off.
I'm having to start pull my beard hair out. But but that's just the way college football is. Every college football team is gone through the same thing that as Tennessee fans do. We all go through these seasons where we're like, it can go either way with every single game we play, and so every college football fan knows this. They know this experience, and that's why college football is so great compared to say like the NFL.
They
And,
play like they mean it.
Yeah, it means something to them. Like that's why I don't. That's why, and I brought it up. What was it last time? We was talking about. I was mentioning another friend. We were all in our chat or call here. We were just talking about the games. We just talked about the games about Utah and Florida, and he was like, "They lost to Utah. It's Utah." Like, I'm not saying that their opinions about college football is, not credit worthy or anything because they have good takes. I'm sure they do, but I don't just want to debate with people about college football and they're like, it's Utah, dude. It's just Utah. They suck. That's no, you can't just have that debate because it's not just Utah at that point. They have something to prove, I guess. They beat Florida. And now we can be like, well, Florida ain't nothing. That's true. That's true. We can always sit here and understand that, but that's why I said what I said about the Texas Tech and Oregon game. Texas Tech plays some teams. They're they've not been no God championship contender team by no means in the history of ever. I get it. I understand. But like, I'm not rooting out Texas Tech. I think Oregon wins it. I agree. Oregon takes the cake. They take it. They win the game. But I think Texas Tech can prove something and show something in that game because it's college football. You know, like I just don't like if it's an actual nobody team. It's safe to say that they're not, you know, they're not going to do nothing. But it's just that's the beauty of it. You're never 100% right. You're
Oh
never
no.
100% right ever. Like we were all wrong. I think all of us agreed that TC was beating Colorado,
Oh yeah.
and we were
Yeah.
wrong. Even if it was by a field goal, we were wrong, or by 3
Never
points.
seen
We
that
were wrong.
coming. I mean, I
I didn't
think
either.
we watched that game together, didn't we?
Uh
Did we watch that game
yeah,
together?
we it was back and forth.
Yeah.
We were seeing it through the halftime or in between commercial highlights, like the end game or the scoring um updates, like we're getting ready to go to commercial in the Tennessee game and it's like Colorado and TCU, Colorado out here with a banger throw or something, it's like shows them
Yeah.
catch the ball and then running it to the touchdown. And you're like, whoa, that's crazy. That's insane. I never fully watched the entire game, but yeah, we
We saw
watched
bits and pieces.
snippets of
Yeah.
it throughout the
Yeah.
Tennessee game.
I was keeping up with it.
You just
Because at that
never
point, the Tennessee
expect this
fans like,
stuff.
I'm done with this, dude. I just went and watched the Colorado game. But
Man,
yeah,
it's
you can't predict it all.
No, and
I could be wrong. Me and Dust could be wrong about Tulane.
yeah,
We could be
it could
wrong
be,
about half the predictions we made.
and I mean, it's just the way it is. That's why, like, I love teams like Appy State because they prove people wrong when they go up against these bigger teams. They prove people wrong all the time. They throw the stats, they throw the so-called talent right out the window, and they come into these stadiums and blow these. Won't blow them away, but they'll beat them, and it shocks the whole nation. Like, what this mountain college team coming out of
Beat Michigan? What's
nowhere
going on?
comes up and beats Michigan. Yeah, that's crazy talk,
And then you still have the other college football fans like, it's just Appy State. You're telling me Michigan couldn't beat Appy State? It's like, well, no, apparently not because they lost. So it's either Appy State has some crazy moments or they're better than what people think they are, sometimes. That's
Yeah,
just how it is.
and it changes the course of everything. I mean,
Just be open-minded,
Yeah.
about college football. Just be open-minded. If it's a team that's unranked, just don't be like, oh, well, they're not ranked, so they lose. Like, no, they could be on the doorstep of being in the top 25. They're not in the top 25, so they're not ranked. They could be number 26th in the nation, but they don't have a fancy number next to their name.
I
It
mean,
doesn't matter,
and
It's
that
like,
also goes with this. If you watch NFL and don't watch college football, what's wrong with you?
college football is better. It's just
Yeah.
better.
I mean, the
More
NFL
teams,
is
more games.
Yeah. I mean, you can watch the NFL, sure, by all means, but college football is where it's at. I mean,
We see the people you guys see get recruited to your football teams
mm-hmm.
in NFL. We see them pop off before you get to see them do anything in the NFL. Now, there's some people who watches both or they care about that stuff. And that's fine. We're not bashing you. I'm bashing
No.
people who are solely NFL fans who don't even look at college and like, oh, let's see who we're recruiting. 5-star, he's good. Why don't we get in? And they don't even look up highlights, recaps of their games or nothing. I'm just like, oh well, he's a 5-star recruit. What? Hey, Kansas City, pick him up. Like, really, dude? Like, no, man. It's like
you need to watch some
that's why I
college
like
football.
college football. We get to see the guys be good before you even get them on your NFL teams.
And now it's
And
gotten
some of them
so
may not do
crazy.
nothing.
It's gotten to the point where it's so crazy now that with the whole transfer portal, it's made college football so wild where a player can just get up and leave and go to another team, and that team is crazy now.
Yeah.
It makes you watch
So think
the
of it
whole
like-
sport together, you know.
Yeah, you can think as it like trades. It's just a college football version of trades, like the NFL has trades. They could trade players and stuff, but except for it's the player himself leaving on his own volition to go
Hmm.
play to a different team. But yeah, just you have to watch college football and you have to be open minded about these games. Like I would, if it's obviously throwaways, you could sit there and say a team's going to steamroll the throwaway team for sure. But when it comes to teams like LSU and Florida State, nobody knew how that game was going to turn out. Did anyone think that Florida State was going to come out after halftime and literally just, all right, Oppenheimer time, and
Yeah,
just obliterate LSU? No,
that was
no one
crazy.
expected that,
Yeah, that was crazy. We thought that was going to be a lot closer of a game, and it turned out
and
not
it
to be.
wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
It
that's
just
what's so
wasn't.
crazy about college football. And so, I mean, that's why we're doing a podcast. It's about college football. I mean, we could technically, I mean, it's football time in. We could say it's football time in pro, football, NFL, whatever. We could do that, but college football is just where it's at right now.
It's just hard to do because
Yeah.
the seasons overlap each other.
I
Like the
mean,
Super Bowl and
we could
college
technically,
championship goes over each other.
yeah, well, we could technically, if we want to. I mean, I think even better than NFL, you've got the spring leagues. I mean, the American football. I think it's the American Football Leagues goes on. XFL goes on.
Yeah.
Even Canadian football, they have some weird rules up there that makes it kind of interesting to watch too. I mean, we could do that instead of just. I mean, I think those are better, more enjoyable games than watching the boring NFL. That's the same. You know, it's the same teams in
Because it's
the.
the same teams in the NFL or the
Yeah.
Super Bowl and that was a way. It was a way like that for college football a little bit. It was Alabama and Clemson for like the longest time. Then LSU crept in, won it 2019, and then what?
Well, Joe Burrow.
Alabama won it next year, and then Georgia. So now Georgia's in the picture. It's like now who's gonna go? We don't
Some.
know.
Yeah.
We
I
have no
mean,
clue now.
so it's just fun to watch these other. If in the spring I liked watching those other ones. Arena football was kind of interesting too. I don't even know if it still goes on or not, but arena football was definitely fun to watch. They had a different setup and different rules that we could still do a podcast on even in the springtime. But I think it's still way better than just talking about boring old NFL. And college football's right here, and it's got the better. I think it's better talent, better
I mean,
environment.
they're in the Tennessee and Virginia game set a record at Nissan Stadium where the Titans play.
Yeah.
We have more publicity than the NFL team Tennessee Titans.
Mm-hmm.
We sold the stadium out and made an attendance record there, while the Titans can't even do that themselves. It's interesting.
That
That just shows
shows
that college football is,
it's king.
I mean,
It's king.
it's better.
Yeah. I
And you can
mean,
disagree, that's fine, but
you'll
I
never
just
find a
like
sport that
yeah.
they can one player can ruin the whole chance. I mean, for the whole team. I mean, you see a quarterback go out, you're like, oh man, we got to throw the backup in. This is going to ruin the rest of the game. I mean, you got pro games. They've got a backup ready that's played maybe three different teams before. He knows what he's doing. I mean, for instance, Tennessee Titans, our old quarterback Josh Dobbs. They call him down to come in, and the guy is playing on the level that hadn't never played never opened a game a day in his life in the NFL, but he comes in and plays on the level of old Cowboys quarterback down there. I
Dak.
mean, yeah,
Dak Prescott.
yeah, he came out there and was playing and was showing them that he's on the level as him. I mean, did they win that game? No, but he did put some good stats up there with a team that was missing some key players for the Titans. So I mean, that just proves that these guys they play with, even if they have never snapped an opening, they never started a game. They've practiced with these teams. They're ready to go. They're ready to get into that spot whenever their time is to get in that spot. Now you get into say a college game, you lose your say for instance, if we lose Milton, we're stuck with a freshman quarterback.
And even though Nico Imaliva shows like promise and he's very praised much by the coaching staff, we still don't know if he can deliver,
Yeah,
It's just the uncertainty. We can't be like, oh yeah, he's our guy. He's gonna be our next starter. We all know that. We all know he's gonna be our next starter
I'm
next season
excited
since
for
Joe
that.
Milton's gone. And I'm great. I'm happy with that too. It's just none of us knows that he can deliver. He was the third best um
recruiting.
college recruit in the
Yeah.
nation.
I mean, and that,
2
that
under
says a
Arch
lot.
Manning.
That says a lot, but we just don't know. He's the unknown.
And he did get a couple plays during the Virginia game. He showed like he had good awareness in the pocket. He could scramble out, get out if he needed to, avoid sacks, but we don't know if he can pass like Joe Milton. And now Joe Milton's passing can be what? Shaky. It's inaccurate at times, but can he throw it down the field that when we need it? Like can we do that? Because our team has been built around the long pass the last year or two. Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt just connected downfield, 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 bombs of passes. If we
Putting
lose
up the
that, what team
stats.
are we now?
Yeah. I
So
mean, it's that kind of uncertainty happens in college football all the time. It doesn't happen in the pros. So college football is where it's at. Watch some. Just pick somebody. You don't have to pick anybody that big.
you
Pick a
know,
college football team and watch it. And
it could be your home state team,
yeah,
a team in your home state. For me, I don't. This is what I have done. For me, I grew up, watching Tennessee football in college, so I'm a Tennessee fan. I'm a Tennessee Volunteers fan. But when I got to the NFL, sure, I like the Titans a little bit. I'm sure I'll pull for them sometimes because they're my team in my state. But I'm a Saints fan. I am 100% a a Saints fan.
mm,
That's the team that I will pull for, and I will watch more than anyone in the NFL. But I don't care about the NFL that much. I would much rather watch college. I think it's more dominant and more. I just think it's better. It's worth something more than the NFL. Like winning a Super Bowl is cool. Like don't get me wrong, it's probably awesome to win a Super Bowl because it's very publicity. The publicity on it is insane. A lot of people watch that game. Millions, hundreds of millions, probably a billion people watch that game. You don't know, but like just to me, college is way more interesting to watch. I get to see my players from college go to an NFL team and see them play or get some play time, and it makes me happy because I'm like, hey,
mm-hmm.
they came from our college and you only watch NFL. I saw them before they were good. It's like gatekeeping, It's like I knew them before they blew up type of stuff.
Yeah.
You have that sense of pride for them. You're like, I'm happy for them because look at Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara went to the Saints. My team. You know how ecstatic I was? It's like, dude, that's crazy. Then you had Marquez Callaway join them. I mean, crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, if you're an NFL fan, pick a college team. Doesn't even have to be someone crazy. You know, for me, I'm cursed with picking a team that's just as mediocre as Tennessee in football in the NFL. The Saints has the same trouble as Tennessee when they come to play their games. So it's not like I'm picking no Kansas City who's running the Super Bowl or something. And they just lost to the Lions this week, or this night. So 21-20.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
There you go.
But anyway,
Oh.
enough rambling on. But yeah, college is crazy.
So yeah,
It's
definitely
better.
watch your team. I mean, if there's plenty of games on this weekend, flip something on, watch it, enjoy it. You'll have a blast. And if you get a chance, go to a game. Go to a college game.
They're ecstatic.
They're crazy.
The community there is insane. Like there's people in the stands, and I'm sure some of that is in NFL too. But some of the people in the stands will just turn around and start talking to you, dude. That you're high fiving them and stuff, man, going crazy. And like I said, I'm sure that happens in the
Mm.
NFL stadiums too. But like when I go to Knoxville, watch Tennessee play, I feel at home, man. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
even live in Knoxville, and I actually feel at home. Like everyone there, I feel like are like I know them, and I don't. I really don't know them. I just feel like I can shoot the breeze with them, and just talk like we've been friends for years, and it's weird. It's strange. It's a weird parasocial relationship,
And
but
it's
you feel
crazy.
at home.
And I'll share a little story with everybody on here that's listening. My one of my first games I ever went to for Tennessee was Tennessee versus Virginia Tech at Bristol Motor Speedway. Since it's real close to where I live, and it was going to be at Bristol Motor Speedway, Virginia Tech, Tennessee, clash of the border states. I thought that was going to be a cool game, so I went to it. So I'm sitting up in the stands, about halfway up the bleachers, and Virginia Tech comes out, and they're actually doing pretty decent versus Tennessee. And every time Virginia Tech would do something good, this girl about 2 rows behind me, and I was sitting on like the right in the split. Like Virginia Tech fans were sitting right beside me. We were on the line where Tennessee met Virginia Tech, and there was Virginia Tech, fans right beside me, and this girl about 2 rows behind me was a Virginia Tech fan. She must have knew every player on that team by name. I mean, she knew everybody. I mean, the linemen, she knew everybody. She'd be shouting out their names, and it was the most high pitched, annoying, like
Hmm.
10 times worse than a cheerleader kind of thing. It was just so annoying. Even the Virginia Tech fan that was right beside me was like rolling his eyes, and they got annoying because they were shaking their keys when they scored a touchdown. And I was like, oh, this is brutal, So I'm sitting there, we're listening to that, every time they would do something. And when Tennessee come out and started putting the hurt down on Virginia Tech, Tennessee starts, chanting Rocky Top, and the
Oh,
Vols chanting
amazing feeling.
everything, and she quietens down, and finally at halftime she stands up and like leaves where we're at, goes down about all the way halfway down the bleachers, and starts sitting with these other Virginia Tech fans. All of us in that whole section stood up and started high-fiving. Virginia Tech fans and Tennessee fans were high-fiving each
No
other
way.
because that annoying girl from Virginia Tech fan got up and left our section. We were so happy, as we didn't care what team we was pulling for. We were just glad to get rid of her. It was the best experience ever.
Like, it's crazy. It's amazing. And the fight songs are great and everything, the bands. You know what I heard? I have a friend who watches strictly NFL, right? He said, I don't know how you watch college, Jaden. I just know how you do it. I was like, what do you mean? It's actually superior. He's like, dude, every time I watch college and they score and the band start playing, it just pisses me off. I just can't. I just can't listen to the bands play. I was like, what? What?
What?
I was like,
Yeah.
what? I was like, what? I was that dumbfounded. I was like, how does that even make sense? He was like, I don't know. It's just annoying. I was like, it feels like it disrupts the game. I'm like, no,
What?
it's our pride and
No.
joy. It's our bread and butter. When I hear Rocky Top, I'm ecstatic. I'm a happy man. I could die. I could die happy listening to Rocky Top. You know,
That's something we'll probably address in another podcast. But the maybe we have a law week or something, or nothing much going on, or maybe even after season we may talk about this. But you know, for halftime shows for the Super Bowl, it used to be marching bands.
yeah.
The original halftime shows were marching bands for the NFL Super Bowl. So they kind of went away from that. Of course, now they have these pop stars and stuff that does it now, but it's been bands for forever, and college
And no
football's kept it
shade
up.
to my friend either, by the way. Like, no shade. It's just,
No,
that's just a story, It's just like, I was like, what? It's like, how, I don't, what's the difference between them scoring a touchdown, the fans going crazy in the NFL, and then they start playing some rap song over the
yeah,
speakers?
I
What's the
mean,
difference?
and then you're splitting the crowd up because no one cares about one song. It's not the team song or anything.
Yeah, there's no like team song. We have a
No,
team song, and all of us love it. I don't think there's one Tennessee fan that sits there in the stands like, I hate this Rocky Top
yeah,
song. It
no,
sucks.
no. Everybody's shouting it at the top of their lungs.
And
You
it's
know.
one of the loudest stadiums in the country in Neyland. It's
Oh
not the
yeah,
loudest, but it's loud.
it gets
You
loud
can't
in
hear
there.
in the stadium. You can't. I'm trying to talk to like the people I'm sitting with. What? What is it? Like, you can't hear
Hey,
anything.
I will give y'all a tip on that though. If you want to be able to go to a game and be able to talk to each other, the AirPod Pros that Apple's
Oh
got,
man.
the noise cancellation in those things will let you sit beside somebody. Doesn't matter how loud the crowd is, you can talk to each other and they'll have no problem. It is crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, the technology, and we're not trying to get too far off it, but the technology and those things were crazy because we took them also to the last race that I went to in Bristol Motor Speedway, and Three Doors Down was playing in the infield. So of course, it's loud over this. You can hear the fans. We're up in the nosebleed section in the stands, and I put those things in, and I could hear the band over everybody else. It was crazy. Like the music was coming in clear, and all the fans and stuff was canceled out. It was so crazy. I use them for actually the race too. Use them to block out the noise for the race cars.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah,
That's wild.
Just a little tip: if you got AirPod Pros, take them to a game, put them suckers in, and the experience is a lot better if you want to have a conversation with the person right beside of you, and be able to hear the plays, the refs calls and stuff on the field.
Like, but you should experience it 100%.
Oh, absolutely. But
I want to do a college football
means.
tour, dude. I want to go to a bunch of stadiums sometime in my life and just tour everything.
Yeah.
Big Ten conferences, ACC conference, SEC, all of the SEC conference stadiums. Like, I want to do it all.
I would love to go to a Army-Navy game before I die.
That would be cool.
That would be a bucket list for me. So
yeah, I would like to do that just to say that I did it. But also, those are like cool games anyway.
Yeah. But not to ramble on too much longer, we kind of did the last little bit, the last 20 minutes. We've kind of rambled a little bit about different stuff. But I think that's a good stopping point for us on this episode. We had our picks. We had a little bit of rambling at the end about how great college football is and some tips and tricks and some interesting stories.
Some life hacks.
Some life hacks, yeah. So definitely try those out. They're definitely helpful. But don't forget that we are on every streaming for podcasts that you can find. Apple, or I'm trying to get on Google. I've submitted it. Waiting to hear back from them. By the time you hear this, it may be on there. So it has been submitted. Just waiting for them to do their part. They're being the slowest out of the bunch, but it's on all the other bigger ones. Or on YouTube. If you're listening to us on YouTube, go subscribe to us on YouTube or any of the other stuff. Subscribe to us. Let us know that you're actually enjoying these conversations that we're having, these picks we got. And I think that's about it for me. What about y'all guys?
No, I'm good. I'm done.
You're done. Cody's been a little bit quiet, so
yeah, I've just been listening, agreeing, shaking my head.
You can't see him. He shakes his head. So
I shake my head.
We can't even see him.
Yeah, we can't see him
I
either.
tip my hat.
So, but as for everybody's listening, I'm Dustin.
I'm Jaden.
And I'm Cody.
And this is It's Football Time in college football. We'll catch you next episode.